Hey guys, Mike the Intrepid Fisherman here, and on today's quick tips, we're going to be talking about tips. Rod tips, that is. All right, so basically what I want to talk to you about is the replacement of a rod tip, the eyelet that's at the tip. I've fished for years and years and years and would have never imagined that those tips are held on by hot glue. Yeah, hot glue. I always thought it was some crazy, epoxy or amazing glue that is just, professionals have to do it. If you break your rod tip or if you ding up or dent that rod eyelet, that's it. You're done. You got to take it to somebody to get it done. I know that people build their own rods, but I thought that what they built it with, in order to get it back apart, it would be you're basically done. Once it's together, it's done. Well, I just found out I had a really nice rod and reel combo donated to me, a large one that was donated to me for the purpose of shark fishing. Now, if you go on my Instagram at Intrepidfisherman, you'll see that 80 wide that I cleaned up. That's the reel that was on this rod. The rod was a really nice rod. The only problem that it had was at the very tip, the tip was damaged, and then the second eyelet down had a crack in that center material. So I had to replace both things. Now in this video, all we're going to go over is the tip portion. I may comment below, if this video gets a bunch of likes and I get a bunch of comments that says, hey, do a full video on the whole, wrapping and all that stuff for that second eyelet, I'll put it together a video. But for right now, all we're going to do is go over the tip, because these are quick tips and I want you to be able to do something that you could do in the field. So, and that's the thing. You could have a couple of extra tips in case the rod tip gets shut in a door, or somebody steps on it out on a pier, or, whatever. You could actually replace that tip on the fly within a few minutes, and after letting it set and settle for a few minutes, you could basically be back up and running with a brand new tip in just 20 minutes. So, let me show you right here in this video, because I started doing the rod tip replacement and I totally was I don't know what I was thinking. I'm a YouTuber. I should have a camera on me all the time, but I didn't. So I got the tip off without filming it. But here's what you would do. You just simply heat it with a lighter or with a hairdryer, a normal hairdryer. You don't even need like a heat gun, a really expensive heat gun. A normal hairdryer, run it on there for a few minutes, or run a flame underneath it for just a second. Heat that metal and get the glue kind of molten, and then you can just pull that tip right off. But let me show you this video. Here's the tip. If you look, the two eyelets on the left are the second one down, but the ones on the right, you can see here, the good one is far right, and the bad one is this one that I'm picking up. And you can see there's no center material on it. And if the line went over that, it would cut it. So that's where we're at. We got a tip that's bad, and we've got to replace it. So how do we do that? Well, you simply heat up that tip, kind of give it a turn with you can use either some kind of hot pad material, or, like a, I don't know, paper towel or something to insulate your hands. But just heat that rod tip up with a flame and just kind of turn the tip a little bit. Once it starts turning, it's good. Just pull it off. Clean the tip of the rod blank up with a little bit, kind of scrape off all the glue. Be careful not to scratch or score the blank itself. Because if you damage that blank, I'll put a big warning here. Warning, warning, warning. Do not overheat the rod blank. If you light the rod blank on fire, your rod blank is done. So when you're heating it up, literally just take that flame underneath the rod tip, the metal part, just 5-6 times, and then give it a little turn. See if it's turning. As soon as it's turning, it's good. You turn it and pull it off. If you heat that rod tip up until it just falls off itself, and it just is bad. The rod blank can be damaged, so please be careful when you're doing this. And that's what I did. This rod is probably easily $100, maybe more. And I just simply went out to the local tackle shop, talked to the guy there for a few minutes. I did some YouTubing before I left. I'm a YouTuber, so I thought, hey, somebody's already replaced a rod tip. How do I do this? I do have a friend who does it, Kyle. And he was willing to help me, but I just, I thought, let me look at this and see what it takes to replace it, and then I'll get it all together and I'll go over to Kyle's. Well, as soon as I saw it was hot glue, I was like, well, I need to go over to Kyle's. I'll just go get a tip and just replace this thing myself. So just heat it up, get it off. To replace it, make sure that the rod blank is cleaned off. what I did, the way I did it, was that I took, you can see here, I've got my rod tip in a little pair of multi-hands, or whatever you want to call them. I use them for electronic stuff all the time. And I put slivers of hot glue. I cut slivers of hot glue and put it down into the rod, the hole of that tip. Heated it up, and then put it onto the rod, and just kind of turn it. You know, what you want to do when you put it on the rod is you want to kind of turn it. So you got to use something insulated. I used a paper towel. I used the pliers initially, and I thought, well, I don't want to grab and and crush or scratch up the coating on that rod tip. So I grabbed a paper towel, put it on there, and you just kind of rotate it onto the rod blank, and then make sure it's lined up. Just look down the eyelets, make sure it's lined up, and you have a little bit of time. But if it sets, if it dries out, or if it cools, I should say, and it's not quite right, just heat it up a little bit again. Don't do it over and over and over, but just heat it up a little bit again, and you can adjust it and get it set. I used a small paintbrush and just put it down there, the hole, after I was done, to make sure. And once it's lined up, just let it sit for a few minutes, let everything cool off. Once it's totally cool and back to room temperature and everything, that thing is on there. I mean, I took and I twisted and I pulled, it's on there. So yeah, it's not held on by like this amazing, epoxy stuff that you're just, once it's there, it's done. And that's what I thought, Now there are some manufacturers that do use an epoxy. So all you got to do, the same thing, same process, just heat it and turn it, heat it and turn it, because the epoxy will take a little bit more heat, but don't just superheat the tip. Just heat it a little bit and turn it. If it turns right away, you've got the hot glue type. If it doesn't turn right away, you may have epoxy, and you may have to give it a couple of turns. Now, if you're getting that off and it's got that kind of a heat shrink tape stuff on it, you may have to score around the edge of the metal piece of the tip just to kind of break it free of the plastic coating. But underneath there, literally, all it is hot glue. So there you go, guys. I mean, it's that simple. Let me know down below in the comments of this video if you want me to do a video of the whole. I won't do a quick tip Tuesday. Well, that sure is a hard little mouthful there. Anyway, comment below if you want to see, because I did have to replace and wrap and epoxy and all that stuff on that second eyelet on that rod. Let me know if you want to see that full video. I'll put it together. It'll probably be about a 15-minute video, because it's a pretty good process to do that second eyelet, and any of the other ones. Any of the other ones down, the way I did the second eyelet, it's the same. So comment below, let me know if you want to see that as a full video, and I'll put that out. I appreciate all the comments that I do get. I read every single comment I get. I try and get back to all of you. If I didn't get back to you, you gave me a crazy comment. This is really I don't know how to respond. Anyway. Oh, all right, guys. We'll see you next Tuesday for the next quick tip.